Hello, everyone, and welcome in a new weekly live analysis session brought to you by the market research team at ONEPRO. And this is Mohanad Yaoud, the global market research head at ONEPRO. Today, basically, we're going to have a quick look on the markets. As usual, on every Monday of every week, we basically start to have a look on the bigger picture in the markets. What do we expect not only today, however, what do we expect during this week? We do our analysis on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. We do set some targets that we expect to see during the week. And as well, we also discuss the main risk events and the key economic releases that should be released during this week. So today, basically, we're going to have a quick look on what do we expect during this week. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll make sure that by the end of the session, I'll get all of your answers, all of your questions answered basically during today's session. So let's start real quick by having a look on the economic agenda. What are the main risk events that we have in this week, especially that we are having some comments and statements from a lot of monetary policy officials all around the world that's basically moving the markets. So let's start with the economic agenda right now. As we can see here, the economic agenda, basically, we do have a couple of things to watch for during this week. It starts today on the 28th of November, not so much to watch for. We do expect a speech from the ECB President Christine Lagarde. She has basically a speech in Brussels, so we might need to check what statements or what does she have to say about the European zone and the inflation, etc. However, it isn't as important during today's day. We also have another speech from the FOMC member Bullard during today's session. However, on the scale of the economic agenda during this week, I can see that Monday is the lightest economy or the economic agenda that we will be having. The numbers basically start to be more important tomorrow on Tuesday, the 29th of November. We do have the GDP month over month for the Canadian economy. We do expect a very important speech from the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey. Basically, London is having, or the UK is having some of the highest inflation records at the moment. So any numbers or any speeches from the British economy is something that we really need to focus on, especially that this should be the first speech from Andrew Bailey after the autumn plan that was announced by Jeremy Hunt, the Minister of Finance. So we need to know what are the comments that he has. We also have the consumer confidence from the US economy. Going forward on Wednesday, the 30th of November, we will be having the ADP non-farm employment change, which means that on Friday, the 2nd of December, of course, we'll be having the NFP. It should be the first Friday in the month of December. So we will be having this NFP, which is basically the most important economic release of all during every month. As per the economic agenda, the non-farm employment change, it seems here that the forecast is basically for the labor market to ease a little bit. So forecasts show that maybe during the month of November, only 200,000 jobs or new jobs has been added in the US economy in all of the private sector, except of course the the farm industry. So here we also have the unemployment rate, of course, from the Canadian economy, the employment change, and so on. So to me, basically, the most important day should be Friday, the 2nd of December, just because we have this NFP numbers. So markets will be focusing more on the NFP instead of the ADP non-farm employment change, which is some sort of a suggestion or an early forecast of what will happen with the NFP. And we can see here that the forecast is also as well 200,000 new jobs, which is pretty much the same as the NFP. It's one of the very few times that both the forecasts for the ADP NFP and for the actual NFP to be the same. We have also a speech from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on the Wednesday, the 30th of November. Basically, he has a speech in Washington, D.C. He's expected to talk about the inflation, labor market, of course, and the interest rates. So this is one of the main risk events that we will be looking for during today's trading or this trading week. I do believe that maybe on Thursday we don't have a lot to look for. It's only the CPI from regarding the Swiss franc, and that's it. We also have the manufacturing PMI. to me, it isn't as important. So the key things that we will be looking for during this week should be, of course, number one, the NFP, number two, the federal chairman speech on Wednesday, number three, on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, the speech by the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey, and this is all that we will be looking for during this week. Of course, on Sunday, the 4th of December, although it will be a weekend, however, we will be having the OPEC meetings. So we do expect that maybe by the end of this week, Thursday and Friday, we might be having some extra volatility on the oil and or oil trading overall, because markets will be expecting and anticipating the OPEC meetings, especially that during the last meeting, they agreed to conduct this meeting every 2 months instead of every month. So basically, the last meeting they had was, I believe, on the 4th of October. They will meet again on the 4th of December. So let's see what they have of surprises to the oil markets. That's all for the economic agenda, basically, for now. As usual, we will keep a close eye on any statements from the FOMC members or from the ECB members. And we will be having very, very close attention to the NFP numbers to be announced this week. And that's all for now. Let's have a quick look on the technical analysis and the charts. Starting, of course, with the US dollar, the most important thing to be traded during this period. Basically, we can see here that the US dollar index on the 1 hour time frame, and also we can see this on the 4 hour time frame, it has been trending lower for some time now, starting from the 4th of November, basically. So during the past month, we had this brilliant move to the downside, and we can see it very clearly on the month or the 1 month time frame. So this is basically bearish. If we have the month of October, which was basically some sort of a doji candle after 4 bullish candles, so this was a doji, and yes, November was basically a month where the dollar index lost around 5% of its value. So this is basically a downward trend that we can see on the 4 hour time frame. During a downward trend, we always expect that the support should be broken and resistance to hold. So we had this support, a break of the support, another support, a retrace, and a correction. And we do expect again that this support of around 106 points will also again be broken. And this is something I do really believe it will happen on the short time frame, maybe today, because we had this retest of the 105.65 levels, 1 and 2. However, the rebound from those support levels for the second time wasn't really convincing that this is a reversal, because look how sloppy the price action is. There is a clear overlap between the corrections and the main swing, upward swings. So basically, this overall is a correction price action to me. Basically, today, during this week, and today, we will be targeting the levels of 105.65. And as soon as we have a confirmed break and close below the levels of 105.65, we will be targeting the following levels of support: 104.56. This is something that we will be looking for during this week. So we are looking for a potential move downside of around 140 pips on the US dollar index. Of course, this is a support level that we will be stopping around for a little bit. So this is what we expect during this week. We had this brilliant downward move, a correction. It seems to me that the correction has ended. Let's target the levels of 104.63. So basically, any upward move on the US dollar index, personally to me, I see it a good opportunity to short on the short and medium term, especially this week. On the opposite side of things, we have the euro versus the US dollar. And of course, it is the same on the opposite side. During an upward trend, we do believe that resistances will not hold. It will be broken above and support will hold. So we had this upward moves here. We targeted the support of around 100, or the resistance 1.0450. And again, we can see how bad the price action is from those levels. So this is nothing but a correction price action, because look how overlapping the corrections and the retracements are. You cannot find any swing move to me here. let's see the Fibonacci retracement. We can see that the retracement basically reached around 50%. It lied between the area between 38.20 and 50% of Fibonacci. So this might be enough for the correction on the euro. And during today and during this week, basically, we might expect an upward move to target the levels of 1.0450. And as soon as we break above, we will be having another target of 1.0485. So from here, it's only around 100 pips. That's on the daily scale, or on what do we expect during this day. However, on the larger scale, we do have a target of 1.0615. This is something that we will be targeting on the medium term on the euro. I don't really believe this will happen during today's week or during this week. However, this is something that we will be looking for on the medium term. The pound is basically a little bit confusing here because although we have been trading in an upward price channel, however, you can see here that prices topped around the levels of support 1.2030. You can see how well this was basically a very strong resistance. So a break above, a retest here, and the bullish price action is starting to evolve and to show here around 1.2030. And this also is not only a previous support, however, it's also the midline of the price channel. So it's a very key support level here. And as long as we hold our trading above 1.2030, we are definitely gonna target 1.2150. It's a target of around 80 pips. And of course, on the bigger picture, on the 4-hour time frame, we can see this is something we will be targeting 1.2251, a target of, a target of 175 pips to the upside. So as long as we are expecting a weaker dollar, this should definitely give some strength and some room for the other risky assets and currencies, just like the euro and the pound versus the US dollar. Exactly the same that we mentioned on the US dollar could be applied on the dollar yen, because basically on the daily time frame, we can see that the dollar yen is trying to break below this key upward trend line. So it was one touch here. Look how fast the price has traveled. It was another touch here, another upward move. This touch is basically weak because prices were not able to continue the move higher. We went back again to test those levels, and it seems to me that prices are already breaking below. So this basically gives more weakness on the dollar versus the Japanese yen. So during this week, basically, and during today, we'll be having a close eye on current levels of 138, because a clear close and a break and a close below 138 definitely means that we will be having our targets around 136.20. So we will be having some very good 200 pips expected move to the downside on the dollar versus the Japanese yen. However, just be waiting for some confirmation from a break below 138.10. The pound versus the Japanese yen is extremely great here. We mentioned during the last week that we do expect the levels of resistance. We can see those levels here on the daily time frame. The 4-hour time frame as well shows the 169 levels as very strong resistance, and we can see here that the upward trend was basically targeting those levels. We respected the resistance very much here. We formed a head and shoulders pattern, a reversal pattern, and off we go. We also broke below the neckline here. So this is something very notable to watch. During today's day, I do believe that we will be targeting levels of 166.20. Of course, on the 4-hour time frame, I do expect that during this week we might be seeing as well those levels here of 165. So a potential target of 150 pips on the pound versus the Japanese yen is something that I'll personally be looking for, especially that we are having here what seems to be a beginning of a downward trend. So this right shoulder is basically a lower high, although it's not with a big margin. However, it's still a lower high, and this is already a lower low. So we might continue moving a little bit to the upside. However, we will be looking to short any lower highs here. This is something interesting to watch for during this week. Another look here on the gold trading. We mentioned multiple times during the past week, especially in our technical report, which is a daily technical report, that we expect gold to stop this downward move around the levels of support 1749. So we can see here that it took some time. However, this is basically a bullish price action here with a great engulfing candle, a retest again. This is basically a double bottom pattern, and we are off from those levels. We are targeting already the levels of 1761. And after this, this is basically something I do believe will happen during this trading day. So today we are looking for 1761. A break and a close above those levels will basically mean that we will be having a weekly target of around 1785. I do prefer that by the beginning of the week we can see some good price action taking place on gold trading, because by the end of the week, and probably on Wednesday and Thursday going into Friday, price action will start to be a little bit sloppy and volatile due to expectations, of course, of the NFP. US crude oil is basically bearish, continues the move to the downside. This was a great swing to the downside. Here we had a correction. We broke below basically the last swing low, and basically as per Fibonacci extension, we might be having a target of 7290 during today's day or today's sessions. And on the bigger picture, on the daily time frame, the crude oil was basically trying to hold above those levels of 60 or 76 since basically late September. So this correction to me has ended, and you can see that the following target should be around the $66. Technically, the US crude oil is bearish, and fundamentally, basically, we are having some rising fears due to the expected weakening in the Chinese demand, of course, due to the zero COVID policy. So as long as the fundamentals remain, we might be seeing the levels of 66.15 on the short and medium term. However, this is something that we need to make sure of, which is the OPEC meeting, because they might be able to shift their policy, although it's off the table for now. However, if any surprises happen from the OPEC meeting, we might see a different technical scenario on the US crude oil. Ending our weekly analysis session with the US DowJones, we can see here it started the week with a softer tone. We had this gap to the downside. It definitely means that we will be having an upward move just to retest the gap and fill the gap here. However, on the overall picture, on the daily time frame, you can see how bad this price action is. You can see the weakening momentum here. Although prices are going up, momentum is going down. So we do have this levels of resistance. It definitely will stop the prices a little bit, which means that on the 1 hour time frame, we will be having our targets around 34,000 points, and then a weekly target might be around 33,144. That's for the weekly and the daily time frame and targets that we have. So basically, this week might be a little bit boring at the beginning. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. However, going forward, as we approach Friday and as we approach the NFP numbers, things will get a little bit more volatile. We will be highly watching, as we mentioned, the FOMIC comments, especially from Jerome Powell, Federal Reserve Chairman. And tomorrow we'll be having a look on the comment and speech from Andrew Bailey. This is expected to affect volatility on the British pound. So that was all for today's weekly live analysis session. If you have any questions regarding any analysis that you want us to provide you with, please send us a message or any comment on our social media platforms. You will find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram and Telegram. So you can reach us easily. Give us your question, and we will make sure that we provide you with the analysis that you need in a timely manner. Thank you so much for watching this. We'll meet up again in the next week. Please have a great trading week and stay safe.